While magic and fantasy play an important role in the Marvel Universe, the world, or rather worlds, are still not devoid of science fiction concepts and creatures. Whether it be one of the heroes wearing a gold titanium alloy suit, bonus points if you got the reference, or an alien race if you like space and aliens, Marvel will not disappoint you. To prove our point, dear fans, why don't we take you through a selection of the top 15 non-Earth-based species in the Marvel Comics? Shall we, Tango? Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Let's begin.
Just like roaches. Find one, you know there's plenty more.
Brood. The first race we see is one that fans of the X-Men comics will have heard of when reading about Charles Xavier's Shi'ar lover, Lilandra. Yes, the same one who was in X-Men 97. You see, Lilandra had defeated the Brood when she was just a girl, despite being a poor warrior. She had instead used their nature and the knowledge of their ecology against them. But who is the Brood? We have seen their colony in the X-Men animated series, but they were heavily changed from their comic origins. They were also in Avengers Assemble, but who are they? Well, they're an insectoid species who go through space to find hosts to lay their spawn in. Think the creature from Alien, maybe. The Brood work as a hive controlled by a queen, who has absolute power. Marvel Girl said these queens were predators who had thousands under their control, all drone-like members of the Brood race, willing to do whatever the queen asked for. They can even lay spawn in other creatures, fly, and communicate telepathically with said spawn. In short, they were predators who could hunt anything and everything, considering their Marvel 616 first predators who came from another universe. A race that intentionally enjoys suffering, they eventually expanded to several worlds and were at one point experimented on by another race. Which one? Well, if you're an MCU fan and have seen The Marvels or Captain Marvel, you know these guys. Yep, we're talking about the Kree. In simple words, the Kree are conquerors. This race has spanned comic pages and appeared in X-Men The Dark Phoenix Saga and Fantastic Four Inhuman Saga. Militaristic in nature, these blue-skinned humanoids, originating from the planet Hala, once conquered the entire galaxy. And yes, the enmity between them and the Skrulls exists in the comics too. The Kree have also crossed paths with the Inhumans, with them once being ruled by Black Bolt, even if not everyone was happy about it. This had happened because Ronan, the Accuser, had surrendered to the Inhuman leader. Technologically advanced Kree even crossed paths with Lilandra. Yes, the same Lilandra as before when she was trying to get her throne back from her sister's allies. You know what the Shi'ar Empress could have benefited from? The seventh sense, or psychic abilities that certain Kree women have. But oh well, Kree technology was developed to remove these powers from their women, and they were even hunted. How is that okay? No wonder Lilandra probably didn't want any part of that. You know what? Since we're hearing so much about the Shi'ar, perhaps it's time we look at their race.
Empress Lilandra, stand before this High Council. And before you...
Shi'ar. The Shi'ar is an alien race which is similar to the Kree in the sense that they conquered every planet in the galaxy and formed an empire, yet they also married the cultures of those worlds. Or so the Shi'ar say. These beings are descended from an avian race and thus can fly, though now they are humanoid in nature despite still having feathers for hair. They prioritize warrior-like skills and killing instinct, which Lilandra seemed to lack. Despite that, she had the skills to protect her people, which got her praise, especially when she defeated the Brood. Charles Xavier was once the husband of this Shi'ar Empress, Lilandra, who had gotten the throne after her elder sister was exiled for homicide, and her brother proven to be a tyrant after he tried to use the power of a dangerous artifact for personal gain. Of course, the X-Men stopped him, thanks to Lilandra and Professor X, forming a mental connection because of them being soulmates. Yes, the Marvel soulmate AU that's between the mutant professor and the queen of a super strong race of people who can lift 1 ton with their superhuman stamina. Then again, to one race, the entire Marvel multiverse is perhaps a story that they're watching. And no fans, we're not talking about you. If you've seen What If, you know what we're talking about. Yep, it's the Watchers.
T'Challa, leader of the Ravagers and lost prince of Wakanda, you have been...
Watchers. The Watchers are a race of powerful beings who realize that the best use of their powers would be observing the growing universe, rather than participating in it. Some consider them to be the first advanced species of the main Marvel universe. While their name was Luminous originally, this changed after they took on the task of observing and recording all knowledge of the universe without interference. Eventually, they took the name Watchers after this task. Their rule to not interfere came as a result of a Watcher's actions, causing the First War, in which the Watchers lost their home planet. While not everyone followed the rule, there were strict consequences such as exile. Later, it was revealed that Watchers are like Celestials in that they follow the Fulcrum, and there are consequences to their interference. Who thinks What If Season 3 might address this? Not us. After all, these are overpowered characters with the ability to do virtually anything they desire. Their energy manipulation is on the same level as Odin, and they're cosmic beings. Since when the Watcher interfered in Season 1, some abilities were set, and we think the MCAU will continue from there. Next up, we have a race that has faced a lot of fan backlash, or at least the show made on them has. Yes, we're talking about Secret Wars, and...
You gotta tell me.
It was fine.
The Skrulls. They're deviant of Skrulls, just called Skrulls, a race of green-skinned humanoid shapeshifters from the Andromeda Galaxy. They're a ferocious people. Both noble and devious, they played an important role in the Secret Wars storyline in the comics. Other than this, they're the first race in the cosmos to conquer an entire galaxy and rule over it, yet they seem to be more at war than anything else. Sometimes they're fighting the Kree, not just escaping them as the Marvels would show, and other times they're fighting the Xandarians, or yet another race. They have of course appeared in Secret Wars, and Talos has been shown as a longtime compassionate ally of Nick Fury, indicating that the MCU Skrulls have some differences from their comic counterparts. Another aspect of the Skrulls is that while they can take on a person's visage, unlike Tessa Gray in the Infernal Devices, the Skrulls can't get someone's memories or powers. They also have telepathy and other shape-shifting abilities, such as size alteration, and the ability to form weapons with their body parts. Another race that is known for being vicious and falsely thinking of themselves as noble, Clintar, or symbiotes. These are a race of symbiotic beings that bond with a host to survive and take on the host's body, personality, and of course power, as shown by Venom taking on Deadpool's anti-hero traits and Peter Parker's spider powers. They're bloodthirsty, as shown when the ancient symbiote bonded with Conan the Barbarian in Savage Avengers. While the creature died to help Conan, it also ordered him to kill them all, referring to the ninjas they were fighting. Yet the race wasn't always so. They were neutral or even peaceful until they bonded with hosts with mental disorders, showing how dated some parts of the Marvel comics are. There's also the fact that the symbiotes have a multiversal hive mind, where they can all connect to each other, which was used in the MCU when Sony's Venom recognized Peter Parker, despite never having met Spider-Man in his universe. We're excited to see where these creatures go as the Marvel 616 universe develops alongside the MCU. Let us know what you think will happen to the symbiotes going forward, while we tell you about a bunch of characters whom many fans think the MCU could focus on next, after the killjoy that happened with the Eternals.
It's a constant exchange of energy. An infinite cycle of creation.
Celestials. These are powerful cosmic beings that were created by the first firmament, which was the essence of the first universe to ever exist. They wanted change, so they rebelled, and thus the first multiverse was created out of the first universe. Now they're observers who go to planets and experiment on lower life forms to create Eternals and Deviants. They witness everything and pass cold-blooded judgment. They're also responsible for the mutants, as one group of Celestials inserted a baseline gene that caused mutations in early human species on Earth. The first Celestial to ever visit Earth died here, and its bodily fluid spread through the planet, which according to the god of stories and mischief is the reason Earth has so much superpowered drama going on. Celestials have a lot of power. Being the architects of reality, they can shape it however they want. They also have cosmic awareness and a bit of omnipotence, and they can transcend space and time in their super durable immortal bodies. Ego was a Celestial we came across in the MCU. Celestials have also appeared in LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, Marvel Avengers Academy, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel Duel, and in Marvel Contest of Champions. Yet in the comics, they're not alone. The Celestials had a counterpart, a race called the Aspirants. This was a race that was loyal to the first firmament and fought against the Celestials. They have appeared in Ultimates 2 and Defenders Beyond. Despite being greatly weakened by their loss, some Aspirants and parts of the first firmament survived. Then, after several Celestials created multiversal cycles, it came back to the multiversal version of Pangea, aka All That Is. Of course, they faced a loss the second time too, because Marvel did not want to unite all their universes into a single continuity. Yet the Aspirants were still given their due as antagonists, as they were made ridiculously powerful. They could eliminate things just by thinking that they wanted them gone, according to Scott Lang, which shows how big of a threat they were. Scott even thought that these Aspirants could eliminate thought itself, and called them worse than Khan, Ultron, and everything else the heroes had faced before. So how did the heroes defeat such a powerful foe? With the Celestials' help, of course, which would be interesting to see in live action perhaps. Another race that we have seen in the live action is the next on our list. They were in the first Avengers movie after all. Yes, we're talking about the Chitauri. Did you know these guys were partly used for World War II in the Marvel comics? at least in the much-discussed version where Captain America's past had been erased and manipulated into him being a Hydra double agent. They were also Loki's army in the MCU, soundly defeated by the Avengers, and in the Ultimate Universe, they were shapeshifting creatures who were behind World War II. Who were they on Earth 616? Well, they're a brood-like race of aliens who originated from the harsh planet Chitauri Prime. Yes, they are insect-minded drones that follow a queen and were once servants of Thanos. Red Skull had in one version of Earth 616 decided to use these creatures to raise the Earth. They also fought the Inhuman royal family when they reached beyond Pluto, but were defeated. Many other characters, including Ms. Marvel, have been affected by their interactions with the Chitauri. For Kamala Khan, they essentially forced her to out herself as a mutant in front of her entire university, which caused everyone to hate her. Also, at one point, because of their simple-mindedness, Dormammu tried to control them, but was defeated by the Guardians of the Galaxy and Dr. Doom, which in turn brought the Chitauri in position to be used to affect the Kree-Skrull War. Quite an interesting race to be relegated to simple soldiers, right? Maybe the Fantastic Four movie will do something about that. Until then, let's talk about the Badoon. The Badoon was a race that did the bidding of Thanos and enslaved other races to fulfill his as well as their own barbaric needs. As a race, they were divided into the all-male Brotherhood of Badoon, an all-female Sisterhood of Badoon, and the third faction was a group that was experimented upon by the Kree and had both male and female members. Like all Universal Inhumans, this section of the Badoon too was ruled by a queen. A reptilian species, the Badoon are older than Skrulls and Kree. They have durability and superhuman strength, but have a genetic defect to mate to a stalemate. A sort of mating madness or frenzy, you could say. The Badoon have appeared in Fantastic Four comics, but were also part of the Thor the Dark World prelude, as Marvel owned the Badoon rights then. But now Disney owns it all. This means we might see the Chitauri fight alongside the Badoon against the Eternals, or we might see the Makluans, space dragons. We get space dragons. They're a race of shape-shifting aliens whose homeworld was a peaceful paradise. The ones who got bored of the peace didn't start wars or wreak havoc, but left to find adventure in the wider cosmos. Or so their spokesperson says. Let's see who the Makluans are. While they are peaceful on Earth, they have been active. A group of these adventure-seeking dragons came looking to infiltrate and conquer Earth. To do so, they adopted a human guise and mixed with the Chinese people. And one of their members was entombed by the use of sleeping herbs to be awakened later to navigate the rest. In one timeline, they attacked Camelot. In another timeline, the Navigator Dragon was tricked by a teenager into attacking communist China. Yet the most significant act these dragons have done, other than entering Chinese mythology, is to guide the Mandarin to the space rings. Of course, he and Iron Man left their fight aside and banded together against the Makluans in the end. But yes, they partly helped to create the Mandarin, by introducing him to their tech in the Dragon Valley. To know if it was an accident or not, you have to read the comics or stay tuned for further videos. Until then, let's look at how powerful these incredibly long-lived shapeshifters are. They can survive in space and underwater. They also have several superhuman abilities, such as rapid healing and stamina, and can release a chemical mist from their mouths. Not bad. Not bad at all. They can also take over others, which is scary. Where have we seen them, you ask? You would think Armored Wars, but no. We saw them in Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Marvel Avengers Academy. Alongside dragons, we have other aliens inspired by mythological creatures, such as the Hydra. The Hydra aren't an extraterrestrial race, so they technically aren't aliens, but bear with us because they're still very interesting. A biological parasite, they were created by Norman Osborn to create a common enemy for Americans to unite against. Someone watched too much Attack on Titan. He also wanted to use them to eliminate S.H.I.E.L.D., which was against his presidency. Which sounds so much more in line with the Green Goblin persona that we saw in the Spider-Man movies. Which reminds us, any theories you want us to touch on for the next Spider-Man movie? No? Yes? Let us know in the comments. Until then, let us talk Hydra, not the Nazi organization, but the body-possessing species Osborn created that defeated many S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, including She-Hulk and Falcon. When they unleashed themselves onto New York, Osborn had to ask Iron Man and the Iron Avengers to end the threat. While many thought it was the Skrull army that wiped out these creatures, it was actually our favorite Capsicle, when he banished them to Limbo, a place outside of time, because of how they killed anyone they took over and then used their bodies as puppets. Good old Captain America morality, he truly doesn't like bullies, eh? Then he definitely won't like who we're gonna talk about next. After all, he once helped Gilgamesh defeat them.
Hey man, I'm cool. This is
Kronans. Yes, Gilgamesh fought aliens in the MCU with the help of a time-traveling Captain America. Then these creatures, looking like they were made of stone, decided to settle on Saturn, where they gained the name Stonemen of Saturn. In a modern invasion, they were defeated by Thor multiple times, even when they opposed the High Evolutionary and the God Pack. Who's the High Evolutionary? He's a scientist who's trying to evolve life differently, and often clashes with many heroes for the unethical ways he takes to do his work, despite his unlimited knowledge. The Kronan as a group aren't very powerful, but they keep trying to invade Earth or steal from Thor and others. Yet they also helped establish Hulk as the ruler of Sakaar, so they aren't evil, just a nuisance. Who do we have next? Ah yes, the Korbinite. A fan has referred to this race's champion as Punisher meets Captain America with the power of Thor, but why would they need a champion? Well, a peaceful people, the Korbinite created an empire through peaceful colonization, most of which was destroyed due to Surtur. To survive, they put their people in cryosleep on spaceships, and a champion known as Beta Ray Bill was chosen. On the run from Surtur's demons, they entered our solar system, where Fury sent Thor to investigate them. Yes, this was where the iconic duo of Beta Ray Bill and Thor met. Of course, a battle happened, and Bill picked up Mjolnir, which meant that when Odin summoned Thor to Asgard, Bill went. Odin fixed that up, and the Asgardians helped Bill get Stormbreaker. Yes, that same Stormbreaker Thor had in Infinity War, so that Odin, Thor, and Bill could send Surtur to the place where he came from and save the Nine Realms. We've seen this race in Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Planet Hulk the animated movie, Superhero Squad, and the Silver Surfer show. Bill was also teased in Thor Ragnarok as one of the champions, and the interesting bit is whenever he shows up on some media, the introductory episode is always the story of the legend of Beta Ray Bill. Finally, we come to the last race on our list. Dire Wraiths. These were Skrulls that studied black magic, and then they were experimented on by the Kree, creating the Wraith in humans. They had a war with the Galador, when they were trying to conquer the golden galaxy of Galador, but lost thanks to Rom, who would become a space knight by sacrificing his humanity to protect his planet and people. When on Earth, these people killed the male Wraiths, who were all scientists, and returned to being witches. Eventually, Rom and the Earth heroes destroyed these barbed-tongue killers, sending almost all of them to Limbo. Wraiths have sorcery, parasitic conversion, and shapeshifting powers, which we've seen in media such as the Dragon magazine. So there you have it, fans. Which race captured your attention the most? Let us know in the comments, while we present you with
The Watcher. The multiverse, every single world, every story.
Marvelous review. The Marvel Universe is filled with a lot of magic, mayhem, and science fiction. That's the beauty of it. Alien creatures and concepts pull our heroes together to save the world, giving us an adrenaline rush and setting up future events that can talk about real-world issues, while using the backdrop as a metaphor. Whether it's the Shi'ar without whom Professor X's tragedy remains incomplete, or Thanos without whom the Avengers wouldn't have needed to come together, these alien races form an essential part of all Marvel properties, being that they are the drivers of conflict more often than not. They bring love, war, philosophy, and more to the pages of the comics and our screens, as they have for years. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone!